Ilia Topuria. Now you look at Topuria and you think, heavy hands, great grappler. What I like watching with him is his foot placement.
Okay.
The way he distributes his balance through his feet is unbelievable. So it's just a little nuance that he does is, when he comes from this, doing these boxer style punches, because his center of gravity is low,
yes,
he can easily shoot him for the legs as well. And because he is that little bit shorter as well, especially at lightweight with the taller guys, this wide stance, twisty boxing style, it works really well to go up and down with the takedowns. Let's see what he does.
Tom Aspinall recently weighed in on the highly anticipated matchup between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje has his eyes set on the winner of that clash, scheduled for June 28th, and confirmed he'll be in attendance to watch it unfold. Addressing speculation about Topuria possibly jumping to welterweight if Islam Makhachev comes out on top, Gaethje dismissed the idea. He's calling it unrealistic and something out of his control. When asked about retirement if a title shot doesn't come his way, Gaethje admitted it varies, saying this sport can be emotional and he's careful not to speak in the heat of the moment. That said, he emphasized one thing. If he returns to the octagon, it needs to be for a fight that truly matters, and in his eyes, that means a shot at the title.
Awesome. In terms of your own career, where are we at right now? Because the last time we heard from you...
I'm waiting for the winner of Ilia and Charles. They fight next week, June 28th. I'll be there. That's who I want to fight.
And I've been interviewing you for about 10 years now. I think I kind of know your answer, but Ilia is saying if Islam wins, he's going to push to go up to welterweight after that. So
I can't control any of that, so I don't spend no energy on it. But sounds stupid to me. We'll see.
Your manager Ali also said earlier, and I want to get your words because we've only heard from Ali, that if you don't get the title shot, you're willing to just hang it up and walk away for good.
We'll see how it goes. Catch me on a certain day, I'll tell you a certain thing. It's a very emotional sport, but I try not to speak too out of pocket when I'm emotional, which is right now. So I'm going to fight again in the future. Has to be the champion.
Belal Muhammad shared his take on the upcoming showdown between Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria, offering insight into how each fighter could come out on top. He highlighted that Oliveira's best route to victory lies in turning the fight into a gritty, physical battle. According to Belal, Oliveira should lean heavily on his clinch work and grappling early on testing Topuria's strength and cardio in the lightweight division. Belal also warned that Oliveira would be wise to stay out of clean striking exchanges, where he's been caught in the past. Instead, he believes Charles should force the fight into his comfort zone, applying constant pressure and dominating on the ground.
Is Topuria ready for 155? Is his power going to translate? Keys to victory for Charles Oliveira. You got to make it dirty. You got to get close on him. I think you have to initiate the clinch, initiate grappling exchanges, especially early. Don't try to sit there and box with him. Don't strike with him. I know you have a high guard, but you get caught a lot with looping punches on the outside. You don't want to get caught with a looping punch by Topuria. I would say go high body lock. Let's test his strength. Let's see if he's strong enough for 155. Even if you have to pull guard, we haven't really seen Topuria's ground game that well, right? They say he has great grappling, but that's your world. You can wear on him, pull on him. Let's see if he added a little bit too much muscle. That's going to mess up his cardio, and it's just going to mess up his rhythm.
When breaking down Ilia Topuria's strengths, Belal Muhammad pointed to his sharp boxing, solid footwork, and control over both distance and pace. He suggested that Topuria should attack Oliveira's body and legs early to create openings. Up top for his power punches, Belal also noted that if Topuria manages to drop Oliveira, he shouldn't hold back, unlike past opponents who hesitated out of respect for Charles' dangerous ground game, while acknowledging the risks Oliveira presents. Belal ultimately leaned in favor of Topuria, citing his technical striking and ability to set traps as key advantages.
Topuria is a rhythm fighter, beautiful boxing, beautiful footwork. When you're initiating these grappling exchanges, when you're making him think about the takedown, he's not gonna be able to set up his power punch. Topuria, exact opposite. Oliveira keeps his chin a little bit too high. I know he has the high guard. Set up your looping punches by going straight to the body, by going low kick. Chop him down a little bit, he stands straight upright. If you do knock him down with a punch, go for the kill. We've seen guys like Michael Chandler and we've seen guys like Justin Gaethje drop him and didn't want to really initiate the grappling exchanges with him. We've seen you go against guys like Ryan Hall. We've seen you against Bryce Mitchell on the ground. You got great ground game, great ground defense. So if you do drop Charles, don't let him off the hook, because when Charles gets back up, he always finds a way. When you're breaking up the clinches, keep your hands back up, proper defense. Don't overextend on your punches, because Charles will catch you, and if he does catch you, he does have great power. So be very smart and disciplined with your defense, submission-wise and striking-wise. My pick is gonna be Topuria. I think he's so good with his hands. He's so good at setting up punches, setting up traps, that he's gonna eventually catch Charles.
Dan Hardy offered an in-depth breakdown of how the clash between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira could play out, describing a fight filled with shifting momentum and mental challenges. He proposed a scenario where Topuria might catch Oliveira early with clean, powerful strikes, but then hesitate to engage. On the ground, out of respect for Oliveira's elite jiu-jitsu, Hardy noted this could happen more than once, with Oliveira using the opportunity to sit back and bait Topuria into his guard, turning the bout into a psychological chess match that tests the composure and decision-making of the younger contender.
I can certainly see a point where Topuria gets where he gets sick of dropping Charles Oliveira but not being able to put him away entirely. Like, I mean, think about this as a scenario, right? So the first round starts, Topuria comes out and he cracks Oliveira with one big shot and drops him. Oliveira sits to his butt and then kind of welcomes him to the floor, and Topuria's like, no, I'm not playing this game, back to your feet. And then he could drop him once, twice more, but not feel confident to rush in and try and TKO finish. Like, it might be the second, third, fourth time that he drops him. He's like, right, I'm going to have to just go and finish the job and get the referee to stop it, because this is not going to be a walk-off knockout. It's too tough. And then he rushes in, he starts landing some big shots. And in the scramble, you can see Oliveira arm dragging him or inverting for an ankle lock, you know, entangling him with some kind of calf slicer that then allows him to climb to his back.
As the bout wears on, Dan Hardy envisioned a turning point where Topuria's patience might start to crack. After dropping Oliveira multiple times without getting the finish, Hardy suggested that frustration could drive Topuria to finally follow him to the mat, playing right into Oliveira's strengths. That's where things get dangerous. Hardy described a scenario in which Oliveira uses the moment to lure Topuria into a scramble, setting a trap that could end with a slick submission. According to Hardy, the fight may ultimately come down to a high-stakes tactical battle where one moment of impulse or hesitation could decide everything.
I mean, I could give you a few different scenarios like that, but it would be that kind of circumstance, I think, where Topuria's dropped him and then, you know, chases it up on the ground. And I think that would come out of frustration of not being able to get the finish on the feet.
Tom Aspinall had high praise for Charles Oliveira's fearless style inside the octagon, pointing out that Oliveira never shies away from trading heavy shots, even when facing explosive power strikers. He referenced past wars against fighters like Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje as examples of Oliveira's grit and resilience. Aspinall noted that Ilia Topuria brings a similar kind of relentless pressure, which makes this matchup especially intriguing. He explained that Oliveira often thrives in chaotic stand-up exchanges, using the disorder to create windows for unexpected submission, attempts including flashy moves like flying triangles that can catch even seasoned opponents off guard.
I think something that I like about Charles, let's have a little look at him, is he isn't afraid to exchange with the punches, with anybody. We've seen him get punched off guys like Chandler. We've seen him get guys off guys like Gaethje and all the rest of the short, stocky, powerful punches. So Topuria, his style isn't dissimilar to other guys he's fought before. But what he likes to get involved, get him dragged into a bit of a punching match, and then he'll tie him up. And then he'll go for flying triangles. He's not scared to be on his back either. He doesn't mind getting taken down where he's on his back, and he'll be throwing up. He'll be doing all this kind of stuff. He'll be throwing up triangles. He'll be going sweeps, lifting him up. He'll be doing all different kind of attacks off his back as well, and that is something that is difficult to prepare for.
Aspinall also had high praise for Ilia Topuria, calling him one of the most promising rising stars in MMA today. He highlighted Topuria's explosive striking, versatile grappling, and seamless ability to transition between all areas of the fight, traits that, according to Aspinall, truly make him stand out. He also noted that Topuria's unique cultural blend, mixing Georgian toughness with Spanish flair, brings a fresh and exciting energy to the sport. In Aspinall's eyes, Topuria isn't just a prospect anymore. He's well on his way to becoming a future champion.
But wow, he's got devastating power. Great grappler as well. Links everything together so well. Great for the sport. Obviously, Georgian / Spanish guy, so he's mixing up nationalities. And just the future, for me, he's the future of MMA.
Definitely.
He's the next step, if you like.
Evolving
He is.
Kai Kara-France, who's set to compete in the co-main event, recently spoke with deep respect about Charles Oliveira, calling him one of the most inspiring athletes in the sport. He reflected on Oliveira's journey from early career setbacks to rising as a world champion and beloved figure in MMA. Kai also shared a personal moment, recalling how meeting Oliveira during UFC fight weeks left a lasting impression. Described Charles as genuine, humble, and incredibly easy to connect with. For Kai, the admiration goes far beyond skill. It's Oliveira's character and energy outside the cage that truly stand out.
I love Charles. He's the man. I've met him a few times, and he's just like the people. His story and like his journey that he's had in the UFC. It's just like that's what I love about the sport. You can't count anyone out. And even, his rough start in the UFC or where he was at, and then to go on this massive win streak, win the belt, defend it, like, how can you not love him? And like, just meeting him in person, he's just such a relatable person. Like, he's just a fan favorite. Like, I've done a few guest fighters with him, a guest appearance with him on Fight Week, and just really liked him. Well, like, gravitated towards him, just not just a fighter, but just as a normal guy. Loved his energy.
Kai Kara-France also had high praise for Ilia Topuria, calling him one of the most elite talents currently. Competing in the UFC, he pointed to Topuria's pinpoint accuracy and smart shot selection, saying it's rare to see someone consistently finish high-level opponents, even mentioning that stopping fighters like Max Holloway or Alexander Volkanovski is the kind of feat that defines a once-in-a-generation athlete. Kai also acknowledged the unique test this matchup brings, stressing that Charles Oliveira is incredibly dangerous on the ground, and more than willing to be taken down if it means gaining the upper hand in a scramble or securing a dominant position.
Ilia is one of the best guys in the UFC right now. His skill set is he's so good at what he does, and like what we talked about, being really selective of his shots and really precise. He's one of the best to do it. Like, to take out Max, to finish Max, like, no one does that. To finish Volk, one of my teammates, like, this is like one in a lifetime kind of athlete. It's a unique matchup because on the ground, Oliveira is so dangerous, and he doesn't mind getting taken down or giving up.
Finally, Kai Kara-France noted that Ilia Topuria's striking, particularly his hands, often flies under the radar. He emphasized that Topuria is a real threat on the feet, with sharp Muay Thai technique and a proven ability to finish. FightStanding.Kai acknowledged that while Topuria has the potential to dominate Charles Oliveira, there's always the risk of getting caught if he gets too confident. If that happens, it could lead to the fight going to the ground, where Oliveira is at his most dangerous. Overall, Kai called the matchup a must-watch main event, describing it as a high-stakes clash that's bound to generate serious buzz. Among fans,
they're not as respected as they should be, because he is dangerous on his feet. Like, he's got great Muay Thai, and he's finished fights standing. So he just don't know what to expect. I don't know if Ilia thinks he's going to walk through Oliveira. He might, but you just never know. He might, get caught on the way in, thinking overly confident, okay, I can take this guy out, and then end up on the ground, half rocked, and Oliveira jumps on his neck, and it's a wrap. I'm intrigued about this matchup. It's a great main event. People are going to be tuning in, but the best thing about it is they're going to more eyes.
Trainer Tim Welch shared his perspective on the upcoming clash between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, emphasizing Charles' trademark fast pace and in-your-face style. He noted that Oliveira never hesitates to engage, stepping right into the fire from the opening bell. Welch predicted this bout is almost guaranteed to produce a knockdown, pointing to the aggressive contrast in styles. He highlighted Topuria's low, pressure-heavy stance that constantly drives forward, while Oliveira uses a more upright posture, using sharp knees and counters to keep opponents honest, with both fighters known for applying relentless pressure. Welch admitted the fight could go either way, but one thing he's certain of is that it's going to be a can't-miss showdown.
That's one thing Charles does. He brings the pace. He brings the pace and he gets in your face and he tries to trade with you. Someone's getting dropped in the Ilia Topuria Charles fight, and it's either going to be Ilia or it's going to be Charles, because they're going to slug. Ilia likes to push people back with that low stance. Charles likes to push people back with that tall stance, always bringing knees up the middle. What's going to happen? I have no clue, but I'm excited for it.
Paddy Pimblett weighed in on the Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira matchup at UFC 317, saying he believes Topuria has a strong shot at victory. While acknowledging Oliveira's toughness and world-class ground game, Paddy questioned how much more damage Charles' chin can realistically absorb after such a long win, punishing career. He also noted that Oliveira has a tendency to take unnecessary risks in fights, something that could cost him against a sharp striker like Topuria. Pimblett highlighted an often overlooked factor, the leap from featherweight to lightweight. Since he shares a similar frame to Oliveira, Paddy believes the size and power difference could really show, particularly when the two start trading shots on the feet.
Ilia beats Charles then?
I think he might, to be honest. Charles is a bit chinny, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's had about 40 fights or something. He always gets punched. He always gets cracked.
Yeah.
So,
he's reckless, but he's super exciting.
Yeah, he is.
And he's dangerous.
Exciting. If he gets him down, I can see him winning, because that £10 difference is a big difference.
Yeah.
145 to 155, it's a big difference. People don't understand that because they don't watch the sport or they're not involved in the sport. But that £10 makes a big difference. And especially, like, Charles is like my height. Ilia's like down here on a stand-up. You know what I mean? So it's going to make a big difference. Like,
Paddy Pimblett also pointed out that Ilia Topuria may not fully grasp just how physically imposing Charles Oliveira is until they stand across from each other in the cage. He explained that fighters moving up from lighter divisions often underestimate the strength, size, and physical presence of opponents at higher weight classes until it's too late. Pimblett mentioned names like Bobby Green and Michael Chandler, who have surprised many with their actual physicality once inside the octagon. In his view, this could become a key factor for Topuria as he prepares to go toe-to-toe with Oliveira under the lights at UFC 317.
Ilia might get a bit of a fright at how big Charles is when he stands opposite him. Fighters do that with me, who fight at lightweight. You know what I mean? I'll never forget Bobby Green looking over at me and being like, wow, he's big, him. Same with Chandler. Like people thought Chandler was going to be bigger than me, and he just weren't.
Dustin Poirier shared his prediction for the Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira showdown, citing, with Topuria as the likely winner, despite Ilia being the smaller man in the matchup, Poirier acknowledged that Oliveira has the submission skills to finish the fight if he's able to hurt Topuria. But he also pointed out a consistent vulnerability Charles absorbs. A lot of damage in his fights. Poirier highlighted Topuria's dangerous finishing instincts as a key advantage and said he's genuinely excited to see how this high-stakes bout plays out.
Who do you think is going to win the Ilia versus Charles fight?
I think Ilia, man. I think he's going to be way undersized against Charles. I just don't, unless Charles can sub him, maybe if he hurts him, but it's going to be tough, I think. Because Charles gets hit a lot, and Ilia puts people away. I'm excited about it.
Michael Chandler expressed his excitement for the upcoming clash between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, revealing that he plans to watch the fight live. He spoke highly of Oliveira's grit and well-rounded game, noting that Charles is always a tough pick to bet against, thanks to his vast experience and ability to win in multiple ways. At the same time, Chandler pointed out Topuria's explosive power and razor-sharp striking, calling him a serious threat who can end a fight in an instant. He described the matchup as unpredictable, which, in his view, only makes it more thrilling for fight fans.
So I'll be cage side for that fight to watch it. And we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, who do you think is going to win?
Man, it's tough. You don't bet against freaking Charles Oliveira because he's so dang good everywhere, and he's a really hard guy to beat. With that being said, Ilia Topuria's got some crazy power in his hands and crazy accurate strikes. So it'll be very interesting to see how that fight goes.
Arman Sarukian gave his thoughts on the Oliveira versus Topuria matchup, acknowledging Oliveira's elite submission skills, especially his ability to lock in chokes from a wide range of positions. However, Sarukian pointed out that Oliveira's wrestling isn't as dominant, which could make it difficult for him to take someone like Topuria to the ground. He emphasized that while Oliveira is always a threat on the mat, Topuria's crisp boxing and strong takedown defense might allow him to dictate the pace and keep the fight standing. In Sarukian's view, that gives Topuria a clear edge heading into this matchup.
Может души. Ну, просто перевести у Оливера не такая вольная борьба. Допустим, моя работа, да, я люблю переводить. То есть я его перевожу, и он может контратаку какую-то сделать, там, вдушающую взять, как он взял меня там. То есть это возни не будет. Топурия просто будет работать, боксировать, не будет пытаться его переводить, так как у него намного лучше бокс, чем у Оливера.
Renato Moicano voiced some skepticism about Ilia Topuria's move to the lightweight division, expressing concern about whether the featherweight champ's size will hold up against larger opponents at 155 pounds. While Moicano gave credit to Topuria's knockout power and crisp boxing, he questioned how well that would translate against the physically stronger fighters in the higher weight class. He suggested that while Topuria might still be able to finish strikers, lightweight grapplers could pose a serious threat by neutralizing him with control on the ground.
You're fighting on the Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria card. Charles is a big underdog. How do you see that fight going?
Man, that's a tougher matchup that a lot of people think. They think Topuria gonna run through Charles. You never count Charles Oliveira out. I think he's very tough. But Topuria is good, you know? He's 145. It's going to be a tough fight for both fighters. I don't have one opinion on that. I was leaning more to Topuria, but today I just had a podcast with Charles on my Brazilian channel. It's just very hard to not like the guy. That makes harder, you know, to pick against him. So I'm going with Charles just because he's Brazilian.
Michael Bisping offered his analysis of the upcoming showdown between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, pointing out Oliveira's trademark aggression, always marching forward with heavy punches, sharp knees, and elbows. While constantly looking for submission openings, he also noted that this marks Topuria's debut in the lightweight division. He praised the rising star for his pinpoint boxing, explosive striking, relentless forward pressure, and strong Greco-Roman wrestling base. Bisping added that given Topuria's all-around skill set, he wouldn't be surprised at all if Ilia walks away with the win.
Ilia versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. We know Charles, he's a dangerous, aggressive son of a bitch. He's gonna walk forward, punches, knees, elbows, he'll lock on a submission. Ilia, this is his first fight at lightweight, and with the punching power of Ilia Topuria, the boxing that he had, the footwork that he has, and the Greco-Roman wrestling, it wouldn't surprise me if Ilia pulls it up.
Khamzat Chimaev spoke glowingly about Ilia Topuria's talent and mindset, reflecting on their early training days together at All Stars Gym. He recalled that even before Topuria gained mainstream recognition, he was already making waves with strong performances in Brave. FC Chimaev highlighted Topuria's non-stop work ethic and hunger for success, saying it was obvious from day one that he was destined for greatness. In Khamzat's view, Topuria is now close to accomplishing everything a fighter could possibly dream of in the world of MMA.
Очень известный сейчас боец. Ты с ним вроде как давно знаком. Он тренировался в Альстаре вместе, вот до еще его всей известности. Когда вот тренировки ты его видел, ты видел этот потенциал в будущем?
Ну, конечно, просто тогда, в то время, этот был он хорошим топовым бойцом в Брейве, как я, мы там выступали. Видно было, потому что он такой пахарь и хочет добиться чего-то в своей жизни. И парень добился всех высот, которые можно в этом спорте добиться.
So what do you think? Who takes the win? Ilia Topuria or Charles Oliveira? Drop your predictions in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you want more breakdowns and fight insights, check out our other videos on the screen right now.